Hello there, welcome to Cubcos Cantina here on YouTube. We got some more Star Wars Zero Company news, or at least I hope we do, because we got a deep dive today. Now, I thought this was going to be a video, but it is an article, it looks like. I think this is the deep dive that they were talking about. So this is what we're going to go and read through and see what news we get. I did stay up for the IGN live interview from... it was right after the Xbox showcase on Monday, and there was no new info in that. We basically just had everything that we already knew being talked about in that, but we're going to go through this and hope that we get some new tidbits. This looks good on the screen. I might, I'll zoom in just a tiny bit. Feel free to read along with me as we go through here. Lead Zero Company to victory on August 27th. This is just what this is. If this is your first time here and you don't know what this game is, this is Star Wars XCOM, essentially. This is Star Wars XCOM. That's all you need to know. If you don't know what XCOM is, it's a tactical game, tactical strategy game, essentially, where you command soldiers on a battlefield, get them to make decisions, shoot here, take cover there, stuff like that. Anyway, let's just scroll through here. And, here we go, table of contents, meet Zero Company, Battlefield Basics. There are two types of operators you can have in your company, authored and custom. Authored operators join Zero Company naturally as the story unfolds, while custom operators are recruited directly by you and can be fully customized in appearance, clothing, voice, and name. Learn more about the authored operators of Zero Company below. We'll go through this stuff pretty quickly because we know most of these characters already. It is Hawks, Trick the Clone Trooper, Telray Vokos. I really need to remember that one. I keep forgetting it. Cly Calervo, Luco Bronk, and we do have some new ones. Jay Mordant. I was talking about her in my last video, so they didn't talk about her or the other guy beforehand, but let's read. Born into the ruthless noble House Mordant of Shuturun, which I know that name for some reason. I think that might have been in the comics somewhere. Jay went off-world to build her own mining citadel on Lunata, ruling as its ore baroness until Fathom and the Infinite Coil took the planet for the Separatists. Sophisticated, witty, and relentlessly self-possessed, Jay was instrumental in convincing the Republic to hire Zero Company, and she will not rest until Lunata is hers again. Now we go down to Cab Uppercut, which is just the greatest Star Wars name. It's so good. I thought that this guy was a character that the PC Gamer guys had created when they did their preview not too long ago. I thought Cab Uppercut was a character they had made. Turns out it's an authored character. Cabney, Cab Uppercut, is a veteran crook and former prize fighter who now works for Zero Company. The burly Felshi is known for his cybernetic arm, his namesake Knockout Punch, and his distinctive rhyming dialect. Cab is an original species specifically created for Star Wars Zero Company. That is awesome. Check out the Operators Hub for more information about these characters. I'm going to check that out right now to see what that is. Operators. Okay, no, it's just like little profiles on them. If I click that, does that just take me back? Just gives you the same information basically that was in the thing. I wonder if this is going to expand as it looks like they got space here. I wonder if they're going to add more as this goes along. That'll be interesting. Battlefield Basics, commanding Zero Company. Ready up, your first Zero Company boot lesson starts now. In tactical missions, you'll command your squad in intense turn-based ground combat from an isometric camera perspective. Hell yeah. Can't wait. Combat unfolds in turns. Your entire squad acts first, followed by the enemy. That's... Yeah, no, that's how XCOM went. For some reason, I thought there was a turn order thing where it was like, oh, you might go, then an enemy goes, then two of your guys might go. I couldn't remember if I played something like that recently where it was like that, or if I just imagined it was like that before. But that sounds right. Your squad goes, their squad goes. Yeah, that sounds correct. Followed by an enemy. Each squad member has 3 action points to spend every turn. Use them to move your operator, The action point cost to move increases depending on the distance traveled, just like XCOM. So if you go to move, you'll have like a little zone where it'll show you where you can move, but you can move beyond that zone if you spend 2 AP. Don't know if you could spend all 3 on just moving. That would be interesting if you could. Move your operator. Attack an enemy within range and line of sight using your weapon. The AP cost varies by weapon type, and some consume all of your available AP. Your chance to hit is displayed next to the target and is dependent on several factors such as range and cover. Additional details about the attack can be found in the shot breakdown panel. This is good. This is good info, actually. Like, I think it's like mostly standard stuff that people like me that know the genre know. But for people that aren't quite sure about this game, it showing up at Summer Game Fest got a lot of eyes on it, I think. So this is good for people that don't really know what this kind of game is. I spoke to someone at work today and they were like, oh, Zero Company. Yeah, I don't care about that. I don't care about the genre. And I was like, oh man, like I couldn't be more excited for this. Use Overwatch. Overwatch is always good. Overwatch is where you set your operator to cover a certain section, and if an enemy moves into that section, they will automatically fire on them. The overwatching operator can fire at a number of enemies based on the amount of AP invested. Your chance to hit varies based on the length of the Overwatch cone you place down. Using Overwatch immediately ends that operator's turn, making it an ideal final action. That's interesting. Hang on. The Overwatch operator can fire at a number of enemies based on the amount of AP invested. So does that mean you can invest AP into the Overwatch and have it be more effective? Because from memory, once you had Overwatch, once they fired, I feel like Overwatch ended. It's been a minute since I've played XCOM. I feel like once Overwatch had been used once, it wasn't used again that turn, or am I misremembering? It's been so long since I've played it. But that's cool. So if you get someone and then say, okay, 2 points into Overwatch, does that mean that they can cover more ground or they can shoot more times? Interesting. I like that. Use a utility item. Medkits, concussion grenades, and more can be helpful in a pinch. Clearing groups of enemies or giving your squad the upper hand. Utilities typically cost 1 AP to use. Activate an ability. These abilities can increase your operator's combat stats, expose an enemy, execute a powerful melee attack that sends slows flying, and more. As you can see, there's quite a lot each operator can do with their 3 AP each turn, and actions can be taken in any order. One tried and true strategy is to attack an enemy using your blaster, move to a better cover position, and set up Overwatch to stop the enemy from fully advancing on your position next turn. Makes sense. Use additional abilities to your advantage. As Zero Company lands hits on the enemy, you'll build up advantage. This resource can be spent to activate some of the game's most powerful abilities during combat. Examples include granting an additional AP to an ally for the turn, calling in a devastating rocket strike, temporarily increasing chance to hit for your entire squad, and taunting nearby enemies to attack a single operative. You can have a maximum of 10 advantage at a time. That's new? I don't feel like that's something from XCOM, at least not something that I remember. So that's interesting. That's interesting. Advantage doesn't cost AP to use, so it can be an excellent way to get your team out of a tight situation after all your AP has been spent, or inversely, it can set up a calculated turn of destruction for your squad. So I guess, yeah, so it just sort of builds up. So it's kind of like a limit break in a way. Interesting. Cover plays a key role in ensuring your operators don't end up full of blaster bolts on their first tactical mission. Units in partial cover are more difficult to hit and even harder to hit when in full cover. Don't like your odds of hitting an enemy with an attack? Consider flanking them or attacking from the high ground to increase your chance to hit. Some forms of cover can be destroyed by incoming attacks, so don't hunker down in one location for too long or you'll find yourself completely exposed. So this is all just pretty standard information that most people will know. But again, it's good to get this stuff out there for people that don't know. Let's keep going. 3 injuries and you're out. Oh, here we go. When an operator loses all their health, that operator is downed and suffers an injury. Downed operators can't take actions, but can be rallied by an ally, getting them back into the action. Injuries negatively impact combat stats and must be managed carefully. Accumulating 3 injuries results in permanent death on standard difficulty. No member of Zero Company is safe from destruction. I wonder if it's like on higher difficulties, 1 injury, dead. That's interesting. In XCOM, people would be injured if they came out of a thing with like really low health, they'd be injured. This is if they get downed, you can get 3 injuries. Does that mean is that 3 injuries in one mission or 3 injuries total? Like, can you get rid of injuries maybe between missions, sending someone to like the med bay or something, give them a back shot? Can you remove injuries, or is it 3 and you're done? That'll be interesting to see, actually. No single approach is superior. Use a mix of actions, advantage, cover, and your operator's strengths to come out on top in a firefight. Sometimes you'll need to think outside the box to dispatch the enemy. One reliable combination is using Telray's force push ability or Cab's uppercut ability to knock enemies out of cover and into a squad mate's overwatch. Every time I just have to say Cab uppercut, I start to laugh. It's so good. The tactical possibilities are endless, and we can't wait to see what the community comes up with. Once Star Wars Zero Company launches, flex your operator's specialization. Most operators have one of 8 standard specializations that define their role. Every specialization includes 3 abilities: an ultimate, a standard, and a passive. These abilities are unique to each specialization. Here's an overview of how each one plays. Assault. The Assault is a frontline fighter that excels at maneuvering in battle to score medium to close range kills against targets hiding in cover. Operators trained in this way are lethal opponents. The Gunslinger specializes in multi-target blaster attacks and fast strikes that allow them to spread offense across numerous targets. The Heavy, frontline combatant, thickly armored and tough as nails. These operators specialize in survivability and soaking up enemy attacks while out in the open. Medic excels at healing and prevention of injuries. Medics can also boost their teammates. The Scoundrel is a wild card, adept at taking advantage of situations without much preparation and making the most of every opportunity in combat. Scout is a tactical operator trained in reconnaissance tactics. Their planning and timing benefit their entire team, creating opportunities where none existed. Sharpshooter is an expert marksman that excels at long-range engagements, focused on singling out and defeating chosen enemies in battle. Soldier is a mainstay offensive unit capable of engaging enemies at close to medium range with melee, grenades, heavy blast fire, and a powerful rocket launcher. Cool. The Den, your base of operations. From here, you can plot your next incursions, recruit and outfit operators, treat their injuries. There we go. Treat your injuries and prepare for whatever the infinite coil may bring. Well, in the Den, the camera's perspective shifts from the isometric view of the battlefield to third-person perspective. That's cool. I just hope it's not as janky as it was in Midnight Suns. I liked the idea of the home base, the hub. It just looked not great. The Den is also where you can speak with Zero Company members between combat, check in regularly to learn more about your operators and their perspectives on unfolding events. Take a tour of the facilities. All right, what do we got? We got the holo table, which is where you jump into combat. The holo table shows all available operations and tactical missions for the current cycle. For example, in the picture, meet the Techno Union. Oh, and you actually have approaches. You can go on the offensive, accuse the Techno Union of working with the Coil, bluff, pretend to know all about the Techno Union's dealings with the Coil, use a light touch, ask them about transportation plans. That's cool. I didn't know that you'd be able to sort of approach situations differently like this. That's interesting. I thought it would just be very standard. Hey, here's this mission, do this mission. Hey, here's this mission, do this mission. I didn't realize that there would be choice involved. That's actually really interesting. Didn't know that. Choice operation. There it says at the top. That's cool. I like that. Operations are brief assignments which do not require tactical combat, but aid your team in information gathering, acquiring loot, or just simply replenishing the Den's modest treasury of credits. Currency spent at many facilities in the command center. Some operations require choices that could impact your bond with other squad mates or even how the enemy evolves. Operations cost intel to complete and provide immediate rewards such as credit, weapon, mods, utilities, and more. Intel is gained by completing tactical missions. Interesting. So is that kind of just going to be like in XCOM where you would go to a section and it would be like scan and it would stay there for a couple of days and then you'd gain resources at the end of it? I feel like that sounds like a streamlined version of that, perhaps. with the intel sort of acting as the time, I guess, it took to do things in XCOM. Tactical missions described earlier are ground combat encounters, where you will command your squad through intense turn-based combat, engaging enemy forces and completing objectives on distant planets such as Bespin, Dantooine, Lothal, Ryloth, and many more. Tie up any loose ends you may have in the den before launching a mission, as you will advance to the next cycle after completion. Tactical missions can reward you with credits, weapon mods, utilities, focus points to upgrade your operators, zone influence, and more. This is shaping up to be good. I'm not gonna lie, this is shaping up to be really good. Eavesdropping, observe the meeting. Okay, cool. Certain tactical missions are critical to advance the story. Operations and tactical missions have a limited time frame to complete before they disappear forever, so choose wisely. Completing operations and tactical missions will award zone influence within the respective region of the planet. Collect enough influence to unlock zone rewards, such as upgrades, powerful utilities, and contacts, the latter of which can be spent to gain a large amount of influence. Okay. Recruitment. As your journey to stop the infinite coil grows, so will your need to reinforce Zero Company's roster with courageous recruits. New custom operators can be hired from the recruitment facility for credits. Each cycle, a selection of new custom operators will be available for you to choose from. Custom operators have their own name, talent, primary specialization, weapon type, and backstory they come with, all of which can be further adjusted in the den after recruitment. I'm going to make the stupidest team you have ever heard of. I've already got a bunch of names picked out. I was making up a bunch of names. It's gonna be so bad. Like, you know when you hear a Star Wars name, a character name, and it sounds so bad? Not like Cab Uppercut, that's a fantastic name, but something like Elon Sleazebagano, something like that. That's the level on which the names I've made are on. So they're gonna be awful. Many of these aspects can be altered for authored operators as well. If you don't like the current pool of operators, you can refresh your choices at will, allowing you to recruit whomever suits the needs of your company best. Alternatively, you can create your own pool of custom operators for recruitment at this facility. The den initially has limited space for new recruits, indicated by your roster capacity, so keep an eye out for opportunities to increase your allotment. The roster capacity thing, that is going to be, I assume, where you start out with 4 people, 4 operators that you can send into the battlefield, but there is that screenshot where it has 5 available. So I think it's going to be like XCOM, where you start with 4, you can upgrade it to 5, and probably max out at 6 maybe. Just speculation on my part there. Not 100% confirmed, but there is that one screenshot where it does show you with 5 operators. Personnel. This facility provides you an overview of your operator's combat stats, soldier bonds, and the focus tree. The focus tree allows you to spend focus points, primarily earned from increasing bonds, to upgrade the talents, abilities, and passives of your operator. You can also change most operator specializations to another one that suits your preferred playstyle from the menu at any time. The final tab of the personnel facility is where you manage bonds, how much each operator likes or dislikes the rest of your team. Each pair, I do wonder if someone dislikes everyone so much, will they just up and leave? They're like, I'm fucking out of here, bye. Each pair of operators begins with an initial relationship, usually neutral or negative. Completing operations, tactical missions, and calling for backup are some ways to boost bonds, and when a bond increases in level, both operators can cross-train to gain a permanent combat stat bonus. That's cool. Once a pair reaches the maximum bond level, they can unlock a special cross-training that grants masterful benefits through a passive ability. At certain points in the story, Hawks will be faced with a dilemma, an important decision to make. Every operator in Zero Company will weigh in with their opinion on how to resolve the issue. How you decide to handle the dilemma may change your bond with an operator. Building strong bonds between operators is key to your success in Zero Company. A lot more choice than I thought there was going to be. Like, I know you'll have to make choices regarding like your operators, what abilities to give them, what weapons to give them, who to take on certain missions. I didn't think there would be so much more choice regarding the story. story. I thought it was going to be very much, here's the story, play it, do your missions. I'm seeing that there's actually a lot more choice involved in this, which is something I did not expect, but I'm very, very excited about. The Armory is your one-stop shop for outfitting Zero Company with deadly gear to overcome any threat in the field. Weapon modifications can be slotted into a weapon to alter its stats and apply distinct effects. Every operative comes with a default weapon, but you can change it in the Armory. 4 weapon types: long arm, repeater, rifle, and pistol, each offering advantages suited to different playstyles. And you can adjust those. Utilities are equipable items that grant your operators new abilities in combat, such as impact bombs and concussion grenades. Depending on your specialization, they can carry one or more utilities. Outside of operations and tactical missions, weapon modifications and utilities can be purchased from the black market in the Armory using credits. Makes sense. Upgrade facility allows you to bolster Zero Company's effectiveness. Here you can fund improvements to the den's existing infrastructure, such as adding a droid bay that allows you to recruit astromech custom operators, or purchase roster-wide weapon upgrades that enhance the combat stats of all your operators. So that's kind of like research in XCOM, where like you would research laser weapons and stuff like that, and then all your weapons are now laser weapons. So that's cool. Constructing an upgrade takes at least 1 cycle. And requires an available build slot. Over time, you'll unlock additional build slots, allowing you to construct multiple upgrades at once. Medbay allows operators to recover from injuries sustained during operations and tactical missions. Standard beds require 1 cycle to heal, while the back to tank provides instant recovery. Healing an injured operator costs credit, so choose when to treat your team wisely. Cool, that's what I was talking about before. The Memorial honors operators who have made the ultimate sacrifice. Visit this facility to reflect on their legacy and review the stats and accomplishments that defined their service to Zero Company. Stay tuned for more news. Everything we've covered is just a taste of Zero Company. Keep a watchful eye out for future articles on our news page, and then feel free to pre-order. Now, cool. Definitely mostly stuff that we already knew, stuff that made sense to be there. A lot more choice in there. There's some cool stuff in there just about how everything works, how the den works and everything like that. I do just want to check, because someone said that Xbox Wire had had something for Zero Company, so I'm just going to look this up real quick. What do we got? It's an interview, I think. Oh, this is going to be long. I don't know if I'll read through this entire thing on here. I might just put this down in the description and let you all read through this at your own leisure. Oh, here's an interesting thing. The structure of our maps is different from XCOM in a couple of key ways. One is that we don't use fog of war, so you know where all the enemies are. In XCOM, a lot of people felt incentivized to use that Overwatch strategy because they didn't know where enemies were going to be or when enemies could walk out. Not gonna lie, I don't like that. I love the fog of war in XCOM because it provided so much tension. I remember when I would start any game of XCOM, it would be like that scene in Aliens where they get to the colony for the first time and it's just move up like leapfrogging each other, and that's how I would play. I would send someone into cover, then I would send someone into cover a tiny little bit further, then I'd send someone just a tiny little bit further ahead, and then I'd be like, okay, there's the enemy, spread out, get to your positions, because if you don't know where they are, you don't know if you're walking into an ambush. When you send someone across the map, you don't know if you're sending them into the wrong spot. I understand not having that. It does make it a little bit more accessible and a little bit easier, but I also just love the tension that Fog of War brings. Not having that, I'm not gonna lie, that's a little bit of a disappointment. So that's a decent interview to read through. I'm not gonna go through the entire thing on here, but there's some nice stuff in there. Nothing super new, just some little tidbits here and there though. But my biggest takeaway from that is that the Fog of War thing is a little bit disappointing. But that's just me. Honestly, good showing for this game over Summer Game Fest. I think having the trailer at Summer Game Fest got a lot of eyes on this game. This deep dive has some decent information in it. Same with the Xbox Wire interview. I'm not upset at any of this, to be honest. Like I think this is great. This game is shaping up to be fantastic. I've heard people be a little bit unsure about like the squad sizes, the fact that there's only 8 classes, the specializations, the amount of abilities people can have. I think it's gonna work. Everything I'm reading, I'm like, I think it's gonna work. If the fog of war thing is my biggest concern coming out of all this new information, I'm okay with that, to be perfectly honest. Anyway, I'm going to put all this stuff, links in the description below. You can go check this stuff out at your leisure and not have me ranting over the top of it. Zero Company coming out August 27th, 2026. We're not far away. I'm going to have to start a countdown for this thing, man. I am super excited for this game. This is my most anticipated game of the year. Not just my most anticipated Star Wars game, my most anticipated game, period. Hopefully you've had a good Summer Game Fest. I've had a great Summer Game Fest, seen a lot of cool games this week, a lot of press conferences. I'm very tired. I've watched probably 10 or 12 hours of press conferences over the last couple of days. I just watched Nintendo before. Kingdom Hearts 4 showed up. What the hell? New like 2D Final Fantasy as well. New Xenoblades, Ocarina of Time remake. Absolutely insane stuff coming out of this week of gaming news. And yeah, it's been fun. Anyway, that's going to do it for me. Make sure you follow me here and over on TikTok. Love talking about Star Wars and this game, man. I can't wait. I honestly cannot wait. Anyway, thank you for watching. Again, make sure you follow me here over on TikTok, and may the Force be with you always.